Hello, dear students. Today we are going to read about the story B.Wordsworth, written by V.S Naipaul. Before beginning with the story, let's read about the life of author V.S Naipaul, whose full name was Sir Vidyadhar Suraj Prasad Naipaul. He was born on 17th August 1932 and he died recently in year 2018. His famous works include Heart of Darkness, A House for Mr. Biswas, The Enigma of Arrival. His famous awards include Somerset Maugham Award. Also, he won Nobel Prize in Literature in year 2001. Now coming on to the story, B. Wordsworth has basically two characters. The first character is the author himself, and he is only the narrator of the story. The author, who was the young lad himself, and the second is B. Wordsworth, a poet and also who is a good friend of author. Then main theme, what are the themes of this story? So this story basically shows about the interaction between the poet and the author, the friendship, the type of bond which two of them shared. It's basically about how the author was inspired by the poet and both of them had a good friendship between them. It's basically about the friendship of two people, the one who was of old age and the young lad, the author himself. Now, coming on to the story, let's begin with the story. The story begins with the three punctual beggars who came for the hospitality to Miguel Street. An Indian over there came at 10 and he was given some tin of rice. At 12, a lady arrived who was given a cent, and a penny was given to the third old man who was followed by his boy. These three were the regular ones. One day, a strange man came who asked for a meal and then compelled the author to light a cigarette for him. After that, few days later, that strange man arrived again one day, wearing clean outfits. He exclaimed that he wanted to watch the bees flying near the palm tree. At this point of time, the author, the young lad, means he goes inside and he asks his mother that a stranger has come and he wants to observe the bees on the palm in our garden. The author's mother allowed him and also signaled his son to keep an eye on that man. But there was something unusual about that man. Though he came like a strange person, but he was quite educated. He spoke in good fluent English and he thanked the lady for giving him the permission to observe these bees. Now here you can see in this picture the man coming to take the permission. Now later on, the man questioned the little boy, while both of them, the boy was also with the man only while he was in the yard. The man questioned the little boy that whether he liked watching the bees and if he had ever watched scorpions, centipedes or condors. Also, the boy inquired the man that to which profession he belongs to, And to which the poet replied that he was a poet. And he said at that time that my name is Black Wordsworth. B. Wordsworth, the full form of B. Wordsworth is Wordsworth. And also he says that his brother was White Wordsworth. Now, coming on to the further part of the story, it's essential to know that this is the quality of any of the poet, that they have their different perspective to see the things in this world. They could see anything for hours, what a normal human being cannot see. Now, he said he could watch the morning glory and cry. Now, dear students, here the thing to note is cry. Now, how can a person cry seeing the morning glory, in which every common human sees the beauty? How that man or the poet could cry seeing that? Now, you can say that this is only the sensitive part of the poet's heart, or you can say the poet are blessed with more emotions than us. The boy questioned, why did he cry? Means, how could you cry seeing the morning beauty? The man replied that he would also cry when he would grow up and become a poet. How the poet knew that this young boy was going to become the poet one day? The poet asked the lad means boy, if he liked his mother, to which he replied, only when she doesn't beat him. Now what he says, that when he like his mother, only when she used not to beat him. Then he removed a printed sheet of paper and professed that it contained the greatest poem about the mother, and he would sell it for some discount price to the author, and it was just for 4 cents. The boy questioned his mother if she wanted to buy a poem for 4 cents. Now, the poet's mother was, the young boy's mother was not so much educated, and she was also not interested in the poetry, though it was given at the discounted price, but still she was not interested to take that. And this is only the sad saga of the poet's life, that his art, his work is not bestowed with money. Now, this is you can say that this is the sad destiny of the poet. At this, the poet's mother replied to the young boy when he asked him that do you want to purchase the poetry for 4 cents. To this, the boy's mother replied, to get lost from that place. The poet kept the paper back in his pocket. The boy professed it was amusing selling poems like that. The man said none had bought a single copy. Moving on to the further part of the story. Now you can see in this picture the poem which the man was selling to the boy. But he cheerfully said in this way he sees many things like that and hopes to get a poet like him. The little boy wishes that one day he also wants to become a poet like the man. When he left, he gave a boy hope that he would also one day become a good poet. After a week, when the boy was returning from the school, he saw the poet. He invited him to his yard, which had juicy red mangoes. The yard, now the poet was waiting for the young boy, and he took him to his yard, to his house, where in the back garden some juicy red mangoes used to grow. Both of them went to Albert Street, where the poet stayed. His house was embraced with wild coconut, palm, and mango trees. Both of them enjoyed eating the juicy mangoes. Now, this is the backyard of the poet's house. After this, when the boy returned to his abode means house, his mother shouted at him that if he thought he was a man and he could roam anywhere, means what? His mother shouted at him that do you think that you are a grown up man and you can go anywhere wherever you want without my permission? And on this, his mother had beaten him up from his very badly. He was beaten up badly from his mom, and at this point he became very angry, and he could go nowhere at this point of time but to his new friend. He ran from the house, swearing that he would never return to his house once again. He went to the poet's house. Now this is the picture how his mother was shouting at him. And when he went to the poet consoled him and took him for a walk to St. Clair Avenue to Savannah. And both of them lied on the grass and looked at the stars. While gazing at the stars, the poet felt so light-hearted and ecstatic that he forgot all his worries. They discussed the names of the constellations, and all way the life was very beautifully going for both of them. Suddenly, at that point of time, the flickering light of the police threw light on them and inquired, what were they doing there? In a poetic manner, the poet replied that he also do not know that what he is doing over there. He is also searching for the reason that what he is doing there. He says, the poet said the poet and the boy, both of them became very good friends. Now, later on, when they became good friends, finally the boy asks that why he keeps the yard of his house so shabby, so dirty. Why don't he go for timely cleanup or cutting of the bushes? It spoils, also he says that spoils the beauty of the surroundings. Later on, we get to know about the next part of the story, where the poet narrated a story to the boy. And what was that story? A boy, he says that there was a boy and girl, and both of them were poets. Both of them loved each other, and finally they got married. And one day, poetess exclaimed, that means she was very happy to announce to the poet that they were about to have a new poet in the family. But no one can beat up the sad destiny of the life, and both the new poet and the poetess left this world, and this man was left alone. This boy was left alone. Both the old man and the boy, the poet and the boy, enjoyed the life together. They enjoyed walks together and everything. One day, poet told a secret to the boy. And what was that secret? He told the boy that he was writing a poem that is greatest in the world. And he had been working on that poem since 22 years and will finish it within 5 years. And also he says him that he writes only a line in a month but ensures that it is a good one. His last line was, "The past is deep." Also he says him that he roams whole month here and there, and then he takes out the zest of whatever he had learnt from roaming here and there. The boy threw a pin in the water to check if it sinks or floats. This is normally both of them were sitting, and the boy threw a pin in the water to check whether it sinks or floats. And out of curiosity, boy asks him that, "What have you learned from this?" He asked this from the poet. And the poet simply said, "It comes, it comes." Later on, the poet inquired, how does he live? How does he live? That means what he does for earning his livelihood. The poet replied, he sings in the calypsis season. Okay. The boy exclaimed that he would be the richest man in the world when he will finish writing that poem, because if he is writing it with such a perfection, he will earn so much money from that. But there was no response from man. One day the boy saw him lying on the bed. He said, and at that time when he went to the man said, "The poem is not going on well as it used to go in his 20s. That means when he was young, his poem used to go very smoothly, but now he is old." And the old boy was about to cry. He called the boy near him. The poet said that he will be narrating him an amusing story. But also he kept him the condition before narrating the story that he has to promise that after finishing the story, he would never ever see him again. And with this promise, he cracked the story, narrated him about that he cracks the secret in front of the young boy. And what was that secret? He said that whatever he told him about the boy, the girl, the story of the boy, the girl, the poetess, and the greatest poem of the world, and all the previous things, whatever the poet had told to the young boy, he declares before dying that all was lie. The boy was very sad. He ran home crying. The story takes a new turn, and after 1 year, when the boy visited the Alberto street, there was no sign of the poet. And in this way, our story comes to an end. So, it's being extracted that might be, probably, why the author B. Wordsworth said that everything was a lie. Probably he did not want that the young lad also should become a poet like him, a poet who lives in a solitary, who has left this world, who is completely antisocial. So he did not want that the young lad also should be like him, and therefore he said him that all was lie, so that he should not follow the footsteps of B. Wordsworth, and he should rather become a successful poet and not a failed poet like him. Thank you, dear students, for listening. मनन भैया